My name is Lorie, and I am an extension educator in Jefferson County, and my office is in Rigby. And I'm so glad to be here tonight. I really like what I do, and I'm so glad that I can be part of this program tonight. I will be talking about artisan gluten-free bread, and you have a 2-page handout. It's in the very back. It's gold, I believe. So if you go to your packet in the very back, and then flip it to the back side of that handout, I will be making the crusty bowl. The E is silent on that. And I'm going to talk a little bit about gluten-free as well. So, I found out that I was gluten sensitive about 5 years ago, and with that became a whole different mindset of how to look at breads and foods. So, one thing that I found that really helped me, if you come across someone that has just found out or they're trying to struggle through gluten-free and how to eat, let's focus on all the great things that you can eat. Because if you focus on all the things you can't, it is discouraging and it's hard. So I just started right off thinking about all the wonderful things I could eat. And then the biggest challenge that most people that are gluten-free face is finding a bread that is acceptable. So that's what we're going to talk about, is gluten-free breads. One thing that I found with gluten-free, and I try all the gluten-free products that I bake on my office, so I take them to my office and they sample them and they score them and say if they'd ever eat them again or if they really like them. So you do need to push aside what bread used to be for you. So with gluten we know is a protein, and it's in wheat and many other grains. And with gluten, the protein itself makes a wonderful structure for bread, and you get that fine texture that you develop as you knead the bread, and you get the smell and the wonderful, flavor and texture of a gluten in your bread, which is a good protein as well. But for those people that are sensitive or celiac, they no longer can have that protein in the bread, so they have to do a gluten-free type of bread. So with gluten-free, it is very different. To create your structure, you have, it's a whole grain, so you have rice and sorghum and many of the ancient grains. But to create that structure, you have xanthan gum, which is a plant bacteria that holds in the carbon dioxide from the yeast, and then you have lots of eggs usually. So that's kind of a different, and it's much more grainy than other breads. So what I've done, when I first found out, I just tried lots of brands. And I'm not promoting any brands here tonight at all, but if you know someone or find out you're gluten-free, I'm the only one in my family that's gluten sensitive. My kids are normal in that aspect, and so they eat normal type foods. I find that pasta is really good. But I just started trying lots of brands, and also I asked lots of friends which brands they like. So I found that I really like some of the brands, and I found that some of the other ones I did not like so much. So if you get there, these are very expensive. This is $7 and this is $6. So for a loaf of bread, if you buy it in the store, it can be $6 for a loaf of bread. What we're going to do tonight is make this right here makes 4 loaves of bread, or it makes a 4 pizza crust, or we make some breadsticks. And it is out of the book. These two, the authors, are pastry chefs, and they work with artisan whole grain breads. We know that whole grain is so much more healthy for us because of the fiber and the nutrients. And it's by Jeff Hertzberg and Zoe Francis, and it's healthy bread in 5 minutes a day. And it's a wet dough, which is different than a mix. Now wet dough, you make it up and you can keep it in the refrigerator for 7 days, and the flavor is quite poor after that, especially since it's gluten-free. And I'm just going to make some breadsticks for you today. As you see, it proofs, it rises quite different, and pull out like a grapefruit size of dough. And it is not like bread dough. It does not stretch. Very hands-on project. Your best friends are going to be water and parchment baking paper. So you just get some water, and rolling pins do not work on this, by the way. And you just spread this out. Make sure your hands are super, super clean. I scrub mine really well before I start. So you spread this out to the thickness that you would like. If you're doing a pizza crust, it's quite thin. Breadsticks are a little thicker. I'll show you the artisan bread that I made earlier. This is all the same recipe. I like it a lot. I think it's very flavorful and nice and hearty. If you're going to make let me get this nice and wet. If you're going to make a sandwich loaf bread, I suggest that you get a bread machine because gluten-free is a batter. It is never a dough. So with the bread machine, you can just put all the stuff in the bread machine and it doesn't work for you. To make it into a loaf is very difficult. So you can pick up bread machines at garage sales very inexpensively, $5 to $10. I bought several for friends. And this is an artisan. I just took the very same dough and made it into a bread and then baked it. Can you see that okay? And put some seeds on the top. And we are going to taste that. After we get, see how I get it? Oh, I am out of my left hand. A little olive oil on this. And then I'm going to sprinkle either some Parmesan cheese or some seeds on the top, whichever you like. I have made both today, so you can taste both of them. The seeds, this topping, artisan topping, is really great. It's from King Arthur's. I ordered it online. It cost me more to send it, or the shipping, than it cost me for the seeds. So I'm going to write down what's in it and try to simulate, because you can buy the seeds bulk. Okay, so after you get this flat and put your topping on that you would choose, then you bake it in the oven about 15 minutes. One thing that is very important, that you can see underneath, I will take this stone and put it in the oven, and it has to be preheated to 450 to 475 degrees. Baking stones are very important for artisan breads. You get a nice crust on the artisan bread, and it's also very important for gluten-free breads. Gluten-free breads do not rise that much. They're very dense breads. So with that, these are helpful. This is a very heavy stone. I've tried some Pamper Chef ones. Just be aware that the Pamper Chef ones are not guaranteed to 450. They're very good stones, but buy you a stone that will go up to a high enough heat that it will not crack, because you don't want to break your stones. And I'm going to bake that in the oven for about 15 minutes, and they will be wonderful breadsticks, or you could use it as a flat bread. I like to squirt before I bake it, and then when I'm done, they just break apart. And one other tip that I had forgotten is that I like to use the platinum yeast. I think I get a better product with the platinum yeast with the gluten-free bread, and it's been successful for me. So with that, thank you so much. Thanks for listening to my presentation. Are there any questions? I have time for maybe one.